Alrighty, we are back working on the Mustang. I have gone through a whole bunch of changes on the car. Anyways, today's video is going to be about a back pressure sensor. I'm not going to go through all of the changes that I've just made, but I will eventually, and got some good information here. That new fancy crank trigger. So essentially, back pressure sensor is used in kind of a max effort turbo application, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell you the exhaust pressure that is, you know, more or less in leading up to the turbine housing. Okay, so what's the purpose of this? Essentially, your exhaust goes through a big hole at the bottom of the flange, and it will come through a very tight slit in here and come out the exhaust pipe. And what happens is when the car is moving too much air, eventually what happens is the pressure in the exhaust leading up to it gets very high. And so why might that be an issue? It's pre-turbine back pressure. Here's the issue. Your valves overlap. So there's a point when your intake valve and your exhaust valve are open at the same time. So if you have 50 psi of exhaust, when those valves overlap, that exhaust gas goes back into the engine. Okay, so what's the issue with that? The exhaust gas has no oxygen left in it to burn, and it will start dropping the VE of the engine. The engine will start making less power, and eventually it just will hit a wall, and you won't make more power out of that turbo. And that's the reason why a lot of turbo cars, people have the wastegate pinned in a max effort application, and it actually is detrimental because the car would actually make more power on less boost. So the back pressure sensor essentially is a sensor that we use to measure the exhaust pressure before the turbo, and we can watch as our boost pressure goes up, what's our exhaust back pressure doing, and eventually you'll see it's pretty clear. It will just hit a wall where you might have 10 pounds of back pressure, then you might have 15, and all of a sudden you might have 30, and the car hasn't picked up any power, so you know where your peak efficiency is. So essentially what I've done so far is I have welded, it's very hard to see, but there's an NPT bung that I've welded onto the exhaust here. I'm happy you can't see it because I did it with my MIG welder and it looks terrible. And I have got a 1/8 NPT by inverted flare fitting here. This is the flare fitting size for a 3/16 line, and we will run a line out of here with a copper coil into a little canister with a sensor. What does that all look like and how is it made? I will show you very shortly. Alright, so this is a very crude drawing, but essentially what this looks like is this is our turbocharger here. This is the exhaust pipe coming up into the turbo, so we want to go very close to the turbo flange if we can. So this is where I've welded that NPT fitting with the flare connection. We'll run copper line off, make a big coil. The purpose for the coil is to help keep this colder, help reject some heat. Goes into a canister, and then the sensor is on the other side of the canister. So this canister helps give it some volume because your exhaust pulses like crazy. Okay, so this will help to dampen the pulses. You can fill these with steel wool and stuff apparently, but this is the basic drawing of it, if you will. So yeah, that canister is going to be the stainless steel piece I make with the bungs welded on it. We'll run the line, we'll run the sensor, and it's going to work good. Okay, so this is the tubing I'll use. This is 1.5 inch stainless steel tubing. I'm going to cut it about 3 inches long at this mark here. I want a fair amount of volume in here. A lot of the back pressure canisters are small. I want to go a little bit bigger just for fun. It's not really costing me much to make this, so I'll get this cut and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so we've got our stainless tubing cut. I'm going to carefully trace the tubing onto here to make the end caps, and then we will use a zip cut disc and a flap wheel, and we're going to make perfectly circular end caps, which is always a little easier said than done. All right, there's our first end cap. Not perfect, but pretty good. So I'll make the other one and we will move on. All right, there's our end caps. So we will weld those on and then we'll go weld the bungs on. All right, now before we get to welding, let me just introduce you to my new welder here. I just got this from Yeswelder. It's TIG 200P AC/DC Pro. This is an awesome little welder. I've been playing around with it this week. It's got a whole bunch of different settings on it, which you change through here. It's got a stick mode, AC and DC, or AC pulse and straight, as well as DC pulse options. A couple really nice things about this welder over my old one, which I'll be using in a whole bunch of projects here, is my old welder, you actually had to adjust the current on the pedal. This one, you can adjust it, obviously, right with this knob. There's a whole bunch of different TIG welding features. One of them that I really like for stainless is this guy right here, which is pre-gas flow. So you can have the gas actually start to come out of the welder as soon as you hit the pedal and before it strikes an arc. So that really helps clean up the arc at the start. You don't get those big black spots with it, which is nice. Obviously, another one we'll be using here on stainless is the post-gas flow. That helps keep your weld super shiny and nice. Pulse frequency is fully adjustable. So yeah, let's try this out. All right, so we got our canister welded up. Now I'm gonna take these bungs and these get welded onto each end. All right, here's the finished product. Welder worked super good. Put a little bracket on here with some tabs so that can sit like so. So we will get this mounted up onto the car and then hook it up and try it out. All right, now we got these guys. These are 1/8 NPT to flare, so those will screw in the end, and then we'll be able to use the equivalent of a brake line to connect from here over to the exhaust stream. All right, now this is how the canister looks. So that is the pressure sensor. We'll mount this vertically, so oil and water and hopefully coolant don't sit on the sensor. The pressure line will feed in from the bottom. So I'm gonna go put this on the car, make the line, and I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, so we have got the sensor mounted, and I just wanted to show you guys kind of where this goes. So essentially our fitting comes from here. We'll run our copper line down, and underneath of the car over here is where the sensor is. All right, so this is where we've got the canister mounted. You'll see the sensor is up, so moisture and stuff like that doesn't collect on it. So the last thing we really have to do now is just connect this line up to the other side on our crossover to our fitting there. So make the coily part and then we'll bring it down and we will kind of fit the top in there after. All right, so this is our copper line. So thinking we will straighten this out a bit. I just want to give myself a whole bunch of extra line. You can see I'm just kind of coiling it around this propane bottle. And the purpose, the purpose of the coils is actually, because this gets very hot with exhaust, it helps add surface area and keep the coils a little bit cooler.
So I'd say that's probably good on the coil end of things. So what I will do now is I will put a flare on this end quickly, fitting on, and then we can actually kind of mock it up under the car. So I think we will give ourselves a bit of extra length. And try to find a spot for this under the car. All right, so to flare this, we first use a little tube cutter. Now the purpose of the tube cutter here is just to get a really nice square end. The blade is not very good on this one, apparently. This should have happened a long time ago. There we go. Okay. I've got this Capri Tools flaring kit. So how this works, there's a couple different operations on it, but I'll just show you. So we start by putting this guy in here, and this acts as a stop. And then we take our line. Our line goes in this end. All the way to the stop. And we tighten these down. I mean, there are lots of ways to do double flares. There are lots of different tools, but this one I've found works pretty good. And I already missed a step because I didn't put the fitting on. 1 second. All right, you have to start by putting your fitting on, and then you put the tool, you put the line into the tool, tighten down the stop. This just sets the depth. Then you can go and tighten these guys up. With them tightened, you take your stop out. Two operations on here. One side it says op 1, the other op 2. So you start with operation 1. And you'll just tighten this up here. And this makes the first part of the flare. And you just tighten this guy all the way till it stops. You take it out and you flip it around. That's operation 2. And you go all the way till it's tightened down. Then you can take the tool out of the little, take the line out of the little jig here. And that's what you're left with. Double flare.
All right, so here's the finished product. I just got to run the wires to it, but this is the canister all mounted up. This is our copper line coiled up. Space the coils apart a decent amount just to try to get as much heat transfer as we can off of them. These wires look really close. They're not. It's just the angle of the camera. And here we are all back together. You can see our little copper line down there. All in all, guys, this is a great sensor, great thing for you to build. You can save yourself some money doing it yourself. This will tell you if you're out of turbo. You can just watch that back pressure reading, see how high it gets. For example, if I'm at 20 pounds of boost and 20 pounds of back pressure, I'm doing pretty good. If I'm at 20 pounds of boost and 40 pounds of back pressure, I'm not doing good. And what you'll watch as the back pressure starts to increase, your fuel flow will stop increasing very much, and it may even start going down. And that's a surefire sign that you are out of turbo. Well, at least you're out of shaft speed, I should say. There's a potential your intercooler might be very restrictive and small. But in general, that's what we use the back pressure sensor for. As always, guys, thanks for watching the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.